Cappadocia is one of the most fascinating regions on Earth. Situated in central Anatolia, it somewhat represents a different planet. Here, in modern-day Turkey, the Cappadocian landscape is decorated by volcanic cones, fairy chimneys and natural fortresses. Underground Cappadocia is much more impressive, with a mysterious civilization. The mega underground cities include complex tunnel networks and sophisticated defense systems far ahead of its time. These ancient shelters were constructed for living in and for survival during times of war. Before descending from the plateau, I paused for a while, amazed at the spectacle in front of me. I know there is no such thing as a striking and amazing phenomenon in other corners of the world. Charles Texier, French historian, 1833. Fairy chimneys are some of the most attractive features in Cappadocia. They're in the form of columns, mushrooms and volcanic cones. The chimneys are composed of soft volcanic rocks called tuff. Their peaks are covered by capping rocks, which prolongs the life of the chimneys.
The fairy chimneys in Cappadocia are shaped and sculpted primarily by rainfall and floods. Other factors, including wind and climate, have secondary importance. The fairy chimneys have a very long life cycle. They are shaped in 4 phases by the forces of nature. The life cycle of fairy chimneys consists mainly of plateau phase at the beginning, emergence phase, shaping and disappearing phases in the nature.
Cappadocia is located on a crossroads of geological faults. Three million years ago, volcanic eruptions covered the entire region with ash and lava flow. Thereafter, the forces of nature, wind, rain and river erosion, sculpted the thick volcanic ash into these odd-looking fairy chimneys. Volcanic activities in the region continued until the time of the Roman Empire. Roman coins depict a volcanic portrayal of Ursi's mountain. Such figures could be related to the ancient natural disasters.
Cappadocia's expression is mostly paintings in the settlements. The oldest Neolithic painting in Cappadocia was found by James Mallard in Çatalhöyük. It portrays the last volcanic eruption of Hasandağ mountain, which is dated to 7,000 years BC.
Cappadocia has an extraordinary geography, shaped by volcanic activities. The volcanic eruptions are represented by Erciyes, Hasan Dagh, and Malens mountains, reaching 4,000 meters. So far, more than 50 volcanic eruptions were identified in the Cappadocia region. The most recent eruption was the explosion of Hasan Dagh volcano, dated to 7000 BC. Geothermal activities are still continuing inside the young volcanism. This region is covered completely by volcanic ashes and igneous rocks.
Ancient Cappadocia controlled the Silk Road, a trading route from China to Europe. The region was vulnerable to hostile attacks. Cappadocia had witnessed the rise and fall of mighty empires. The Hittites of Anatolia, Persians, Alexander the Great, Roman, Byzantine and Ottoman empires all ruled the region. Cappadocia was a stronghold for early Christians, thanks to its underground way of life and the most sophisticated of defense systems. The origins of the name of Cappadocia are something of a mystery. It might have originated from ancient Persian inscriptions. Its meaning is the land of beautiful horses. Ancient settlements in the region date back to the Neolithic age. Obsidian stone tools and a 2100-year-old sculpture of Cybele, the goddess of fertility, were found in the Cappadocia region. Greater Cappadocia covers the lands between the Pontus and Taurus mountain ranges in central Anatolia. Today's Cappadocia is a lesser area, limited to the towns of Urgup, Goreme and Avanos. The region is bordered by natural fortresses called Uchisar and Ortahisar, which were carved into the monumental rocks by the Hittites and the Romans. The longest river of Anatolia, Kızılırmak, gives life to Cappadocia. It has been a source of pottery art since ancient times. Words are not enough to describe the view of this extraordinary place. W.J. Hamilton, British geologist, 1839. In Cappadocia, the story of civilization begins with carving out the rock. The method of rock carving was a major breakthrough for survival both in everyday life and during wartime. Nowadays, visitors from around the world are amazed to discover the mysterious underground cities in Cappadocia. Underground cities used to host more than 10,000 inhabitants in times of war. The major underground cities are known as Derinkiu, Kaymakli and Mazi.
Hittite and Phrygian mythologies mention that the Cappadocia is a special geography created and sculptured by the gods of volcanoes and rains. The Cappadocia looks like a multi-layered archaeological treasure. Here, historical artifacts and underground cities are dated to early Bronze Age.
Derinkiu is the deepest underground city with a depth of around 110 meters with 8 levels of dwellings. Very simple hand tools, such as pickaxes, wedges and sledges, were used in the construction of underground cities. Ancient writers mention that houses were built underground. The entrances were in the form of enlarged wells. These tunnels were dug in the houses. Inside the houses there were goats, sheep, cows and poultry with their young.
The nature itself is an architectural element above and below the ground in Cappadocia. The houses are not built in traditional way by stone and mortar, but they were built by rock carving techniques, which is very unique for its time. The architectural tradition is flourished by underground settlements. Today, there are more than 100 settlements in Cappadocia region.
Underground Cappadocia has quite interesting features for its communal life. In the region, underground temperatures are constant with 8 to 12 degrees during both summer and winter seasons. Such temperatures provide cool summer and warm winter conditions. Here, underground rocks are also suitable for food storage and preservation in the long term. In addition, since the antiquity, thermal hot springs along the rock fractures have been traditionally used for the treatment of diseases.
Underground cities in Cappadocia were built with knowledge well advanced for the time. The use of these underground shelters safeguarded life in the region for many years. Cities were carved into the soft volcanic rocks, including water supply tunnels, extraordinary churches and wine pressing rooms, living rooms, meeting rooms, food storage, kitchens and stables for livestock.
Here, all facilities are provided for a civilized life, including living room, kitchens, food storages, wineries, meeting places, and churches.
Even with today's technology, it would be extremely difficult to plan and construct such complex underground cities. Ancient rock masters built the underground cities into the strong rock formations. Ventilation tunnels were provided with air circulation, which meant warm living conditions in winter and cooler conditions during the summer. unlike conventional construction techniques, the rock itself was used as the load-bearing columns for the underground homes. In these ancient times, the supporting capacity of rock columns were calculated precisely. The large living spaces deep underground were supported by rock pillars which were accurately positioned, similar to modern-day construction techniques. Quite interestingly, underground homes were built with smaller dimensions in order to eliminate risks of collapse.
Cappadocia's fame lies in rock churches. Churches and monasteries are dated back to the 10th century. Arches, walls, columns, highly decorated frescoes, and many other religious artifacts are survived to the present day.
The volcanic activities in the region have created expressionist paintings and caused fears on the ancient communities. The ancient communities communicated and expressed themselves by the paintings. Fear, joy, needs, beliefs, sacrifice, and sacred objects in the human life were included in the paintings.
We found ourselves suddenly in a forest of rock cones and pillars, as if we were walking in the ruins of an ancient and large city. The rocks had fantastic forms, one resembling a lion, another a huge bird, and others a crocodile or fish. W.F. Ainsworth, 1842. Cappadocia was a dangerous region on the ancient Silk Road. Underground settlements became deeper and interconnected as hostile attacks intensified in the region. A sophisticated underground defense system was developed by the inhabitants in order to survive. The most important part of the defense system was to build small tunnels with very narrow passages to limit the entry of enemies. One soldier could barely enter into these narrow tunnels. Therefore, it was impossible for invaders to attack insiders en masse. Another defense measure was to close tunnel entrances with locking stones. These circular stones had a special locking system with a surveillance hole in the middle. They could be opened from the inside, but not from the outside. Trapping enemies inside the tunnels was another innovative defense method. If enemies entered the underground cities, they would easily lose their sense of direction in the complex tunnel networks. Also, it was possible to kill enemies by spears or with hot oil poured from hidden holes in the tunnel roofs. Furthermore, the underground community had a special communication system that their enemies were unaware of. During long sieges, food storage and hygiene methods involving lime were used successfully at the underground settlements.
Cappadocia was also a source of cultural continuity throughout the history. Such continuity can be followed by symbolism on the wall paintings. Animals such as deer, eagles, double-headed eagles, and roosters are well-known symbolism in the pagan, Christian, and Islamic times. The frescoes in the region reveal the beliefs of their times. The frescoes appeared to be important communicating methods of church teachings. On the frescoes of underground churches, sacred messages were portrayed in the form of a visual feast. Moreover, in the 1st century, the monastic life of Christianity emerged and spread all over the world from Cappadocia.
Rocks on their peaks resemble a woman holding a child in her arms, a lion and a sphinx. Paul Lucas, 1705. Cappadocia gives us important and valuable messages about civilization and coexistence in these desert and unfertile terrains. Underground Cappadocia had preserved ancient civilizations and early Christianity in the hostile times of the Silk Road. Ancient rock carvers in Cappadocia mastered the art of crafting columns, arches, churches, houses and tunnel networks so unique in their day. Underground Cappadocia is timeless. Its legacy will last beyond the modern age.